The following clip is from a previously recorded episode of the Cherish Each Moment podcast. Last item for today. I found a couple of articles about this, actually. One of which I was willing to pay to get through a paywall to read. But the most recent one I found comes from The Guardian, and The Guardian pretty much did the same thing. They saw this original article that I saw, and they basically take quotes and pieces from the original article. So the original article came from the Philadelphia Inquirer, and the condensed version came from The Guardian. So I'm going to take clips from The Guardian. Their headline is, Artificial Turf Potentially Linked to Cancer Deaths of 6 Phillies Ball Players. So here's some highlights from that article. A report on a possible link between a rare brain cancer that killed 6 professional U.S. baseball players and toxic chemicals in artificial turf is raising a new round of questions over whether synthetic sports fields pose a health threat to athletes and owners who use them. The 6 athletes, who all died from glioblastoma, I had to think about that one for a second, glioblastoma, played most of their careers with the Philadelphia Phillies, a team that for decades competed on artificial turf in Veterans Stadium, the Philadelphia Inquirer reported. All artificial turf is made with toxic PFAS compounds, and some types are still produced with recycled tires that can contain heavy metals, benzene, volatile organic compounds, and other carcinogens, and a growing number of U.S. municipalities and states have banned or proposed banning them. The Phillies players' deaths are more evidence that regulators need to prohibit synthetic fields, said Kyla Bennett, a former Environmental Protection Agency scientist, now with the Public Employees for Environmental Responsibility nonprofit. There's a high number of Philadelphia Phillies diagnosed with this rare cancer, and it looks weird, so that should be a red flag, said Bennett. We don't know what those chemicals are doing to us, what happened to exercising caution when we're talking about human health. However, all brain cancer experts who have spoken with The Guardian or were quoted in previous stories on the Phillies' deaths cautioned that it is impossible to prove that the ball players' cancers were caused by PFAS from the turf. The bottom line is anything in the world is possible, but what's plausible and provable are two totally different things, said Henry Friedman, a neuro-oncologist at Duke University who treated 2 of the players. There is no way to now say if these chemicals are there, they are causing the tumors. The federal government estimates about 12,000 synthetic turf fields exist in the U.S., and at least 1,200 more are installed annually. Only 5 professional baseball teams still use synthetic fields, the Inquirer reported. Several layers comprise synthetic fields: plastic grass blades, plastic backing that holds the blades in place, and infill that weighs down the turf. Until recently, infill was always made with recycled rubber tires called crumb rubber, which EPA testing has found contains high levels of dangerous chemicals. Recent independent testing of multiple artificial fields has found the presence of highly toxic PFAS compounds like 6-2-FTOH and PFOS. The EPA recently revised its health advisory for PFOS to state that, in effect, no level of exposure to it in drinking water is safe. The Inquirer brought pieces of the Phillies' artificial turf and had it tested at 2 labs and found it contained 16 types of PFAS, including PFOS. PFAS, or per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, are a class of about 12,000 chemicals, often used to make products resist water, stains, and heat. They are called forever chemicals because they don't naturally break down and are linked to cancer, liver problems, thyroid issues, birth defects, kidney disease, decreased immunity, and other serious health problems. PFAS can be ingested, inhaled, and absorbed through the skin, or even enter the body through open wounds. Phillies ball players competed on artificial turf between 1971 and 2003, and 6 former Phillies died in their 40s or 50s, about 3 times the rate of the adult male general population. But researchers noted the age group in which they died is at a higher risk for the disease, and that could skew the results. Experts have said other factors could contribute, like pesticides used on grass fields, chewing tobacco or drug use, or concussions. Still, the situation highlights the need to study a possible connection between PFAS in turf and cancer, said David Andrews, a senior scientist with the Environmental Working Group nonprofit. Beyond the chemical exposures, critics say the material also emits high levels of methane, a potent greenhouse gas, and sheds microplastics and other chemicals into waterways. Artificial turf can act as a heat island, increasing playing field temperatures to as much as 93 degrees Celsius or 200 degrees Fahrenheit. National Football League players pressured the league in 2022 to ban artificial turf because of injuries, and the U.S. national soccer teams will only play on natural grass fields for the same reason. At least 9 municipalities in Connecticut, California, and Massachusetts, including the city of Boston, have begun limiting the use of synthetic fields via bans or moratoriums. Legislatures in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts also began considering prohibiting them in recent months, while a ban on non-essential uses of PFAS going into effect in Maine in 2029 could bar the use of artificial turf there. Bennett said the issue highlights the need for the EPA to ban artificial turf and PFAS. Is artificial turf easier? Yeah, you don't have to mow it, but that doesn't mean it's right to use it, she said. We should not have the ability to destroy our planet or health for convenience. So there it is. As the article said, right at the end there is no proof that the deaths were linked to the artificial turf. But because there were 6 deaths from the same organization, there's definitely cause for concern and reason to dig in and find some answers. I agree with that. It seems like the topic of artificial turf is becoming much more common, at least for me. The article mentioned the NFL banning artificial turf because of injuries, which I've talked about here in the past. I really have to agree with the quote at the end here about being careful about what we are implementing as solutions in the name of convenience. Just because something is more convenient doesn't mean it's right. And as a reminder, I live out west, and there are a lot of advocates for artificial turf out here to replace natural grass. But I can't agree that artificial turf is the best solution for our environment. I just can't.